Do-do-do-do-do-do.
You want water?
No, I'm good, man.
All right. There you go. Oh, you got something right there. Now you're good. What?
I think we gotta get rid of Boba Bryan.
What? Why?
Dude, you just handed him a water.
He looked thirsty.
Earlier today, when I asked you if you wanted a burrito, you asked Boba Bryan what he wanted.
Jeez. God. He has ears.
Dude, he's a cutout. He can't hear you.
You know what? You want to get rid of him? Do it yourself. I don't want to be part of it, though. God. We're the best thing that's happened to us.
Fine. I will get rid of him. This is ridiculous. What the hell? Recording at 12920 Philadelphia Street, Whittier, California, at Undercity Comics. Keeping Up with the Nerds presents issue 133. My name is Nick Valero.
Rene, brother.
And welcome to the show. Hey.
Hey, I think it's the first time I had said my full name.
I know,
at all.
right?
It's weird.
No, it's also really funny. I think that's the first time I've ever run through that and never didn't stumble.
Yeah, didn't
stumble through it.
I was like, wait, we did 132. And then he said 133. I'm like, yeah, it's 133.
We talked about it earlier. That's why. That's the only reason I remembered. We should really have those meetings,
right?
Actually, having a meeting beforehand really does help.
We should really talk to each other before we record.
That helped so much. Yeah. We have a pretty good show for you guys today. We have a lot of nerdy news. Some not so great. Oh, can you look up what her name was again? I totally forgot.
Yes.
I totally forgot. So yeah, this is another week without Bryan. We didn't have a guest this week, or anything else. We thought, no more guests. Just us.
Just us.
Just us. Make it a little more intimate. Make it a little more, child friendly. I shouldn't put intimate and child friendly.
Yeah,
that doesn't sound right at all. It doesn't. That makes it weird. I don't know why you're looking up Last of Us cast.
Because
I'm talking about the actress who died yesterday.
Yeah, she was the voice of Tess.
Oh yeah. I thought she would have just looked. There we go. All right, sounds good. So going into everything else, we have an interesting show. We're going to go through comic strips just like normal. Mm-hmm. But first, before we go into anything else, I just wanted to, say, we have a little bit of sad news, as of recording today.
Yeah, as of recording today, yeah.
Anna Westring. Yeah. Annie Westring passed away. She was she lost to a battle with cancer, and she had a really big body of work. In case you didn't know some of the things that she was doing, she was the original voice for Tess
in the video game. Yeah,
in the video game for The Last of Us, which many of us are enjoying this year. She was in Star Trek Picard. She was in The Rookie. If you really like The Rookie, like me and Rene do, she was Rosalind Dwyer. Mm-hmm. So, she was a really good actress.
She was.
She really just based off of The Rookie, and also for Tess. Mm-hmm. But even if you just take her most recent stuff for The Rookie, she really made Rosalind Dyer terrifying.
She made it she played it very cold, very well.
Yeah, she did an amazing job. Go check out her body of work. She was also in like 24, CSI. She had a really long filmography. You can see her all over the place. In general, she was an angel.
Yeah, she was.
Oh my God, she was Margaret.
Yeah, she was in one episode. Yeah.
Oh my God, I totally forgot about that. That's interesting. Okay, but anyway, she had a huge body of work. That's man, that's crazy.
She did a lot of TV shows, even if it was just for one episode.
Episode.
Yeah. But yeah,
she was constantly working.
Mm-hmm.
She was always working. So I mean, shout out to her family and everything like that. She did a great. She will be missed and everything else. But in other news, so let's get into comic strips.
Yeah.
Speaking of things that are slowly going away, Regal Cinemas are now going out of business. They have reported that 39 locations will be shutting down. And
what was the last time you went to a Regal theater?
Spider-Man.
Which one?
No Way Home.
Really?
That was a Regal we went to.
Was it?
That was a Regal we went to.
Where at? Where was that one at?
The Regal over in Hollywood. It was like in Hollywood or
that's right.
Century City or something like that. That was a Regal.
I thought it was a Cinemark for some reason.
No, that was a Regal.
Oh wow.
But yes, so I mean that was the last time was for Spider-Man.
Oh God, I think for me,
which was almost a year ago.
Yeah, I think I do want to say maybe. Oh no, okay, so then that means I saw it before we saw Spider-Man. I saw Uncharted at a Regal in La Habra right there, but it was with Mandy and some of her friends visiting.
You know what's crazy though, because I get it. Mm-hmm. Theaters aren't exactly doing the best. They are. How do you say it? Slowly dying. Yeah, slowly dying. Yeah. But I did notice that AMC still looks like it's not
functioning.
It's functioning. It's not like they're not dying out. They're not doing anything else.
I mean, I see more. I mean, every time we see a movie, it's always fluctuating of people going in and out. At least for me, when I went to go see certain movies in AMC now, because we have A-list. All of us, most of us do in our circle, and
my new Mando hat.
And so one of the good things is that I convinced Mandy to get A-list as well too.
Yeah,
yeah. And does Monica?
Monica does not have
A-list.
She does not.
Are you trying to convince her too?
It's not that I have to convince her. It's I have to buy it.
I have to buy your ticket.
Yeah. So I have to
spend money.
So it's not even spending money. Yeah. It's more or less like I have to commit to just putting it on, just doing it.
Yeah.
And everything like that. And it's not that it's a big deal. No, it's just.
You don't even want to say inconvenience.
Huh?
You don't even want to say it's an inconvenience.
It is mildly an inconvenience. But it's fine.
No, I mean Mandy was the same way too.
I was originally going to get that for Christmas. That was going to be my Christmas gift to her, was the A-list. And then I thought about it and I went, nah. Because we don't go to the movies all that often.
That's right.
Going to the movies isn't exactly a big thing that we do.
That's the thing. That's what me and Mandy do. We love going to the theater.
But my thing is that I think because Monica really likes date night. So, I mean, she even said, she goes, well, I mean, if it's something for date night or for future dates, I'm okay with it. Right now, she just bought a Disney pass.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So I figure instead of us going to the movies, we're going to be going to Disneyland a lot.
That's true.
So I think
one
that's,
or the other. Yeah.
So I think that's kind of our.
If you already put one money into one pass or a subscription of something, might as well, use that one for the time being.
Not only that,
I get that.
Yeah, not only that, but also going through, the amount of times that I think that Monica would actually go to the movies would probably be less money than me actually buying a movie pass. Because I feel like you have to keep going and everything else.
Well, the one thing that I convinced Mandy about it is that I said, well, the thing is though, is that because we see all the Marvel movies, all the big time movies,
Maverick. also we went to go see it at Regal.
Oh, really?
Because that has the 4D theaters.
Oh, that's right.
That was a Regal.
That was a Regal.
Totally forgot about that.
That was a Regal.
Because Regal has all the 4D and like the stereo. Because okay, so that's the weird thing about Regal theaters. They went for like, we're gonna give you the most like immersive experiences, and I imagine those theaters are expensive as all hell. Like they're just really expensive, but also like okay, when we went to go see Maverick was more or less, it was cool for like the first like 20 minutes.
Oh, the whole 4D experience.
Yeah, like the whole 4D experience, it was cool for about 20 minutes. Then like halfway through the movie, I then realized I can't slouch in this chair or else it's going to whoop me.
Yeah.
Like it's going to start beating me up, because I remember slouching in the chair a little bit, like to kind of get comfortable. And then like the motor hit me in the motor like just right in the back of the neck, and I was like, "Oh my god, what was that?" And like I sat up straight, and I was like, "Oh my god, that was terrible. What was that?"
Well, it's weird because I mean, it was a cool experience, but at the same time, you don't feel like you're solely sitting in those chairs.
No,
it feels like you're kind of like hovering
a little bit
the entire time, and it's cool. Don't get me wrong, but as a big person, you're just kind of like, I'm just kind of sitting there. I'm like.
Yeah, like, I've noticed that too, just from being a bigger person.
Yeah,
I don't do those like it's only a one direction seat, and I did notice that inside of Regals that happened a lot. There was a lot of like it's just this seat and that's it.
Yeah, there's no reclining seats at most Regals. Like the one in the Harbor doesn't. It still uses the old sitting system since that theater's been there.
Exactly. And it's don't get me wrong, it's interesting. I mean, I do like the idea of Regals are they had all these like cool little like gimmicks, but I don't feel like there was like a lot that was keeping you in the movie theater.
No, because
I like the idea of AMC went the other direction, where it was like, okay, cool, we're just gonna make this the best possible movie experience you can possibly have. It's not gonna be like super fancy or anything like that, where like you can go to the Fullerton and get like the dine-in, where it's kind of like that, where it's a little fancier. But more or less, they kind of just went, you're gonna be comfortable as all hell when you're here. If you sleep through it, cool. You just have to come back and watch a movie again. I feel like that's the only reason why, like, to have that response of James Cameron's of like, if you fell asleep, I'm sorry, like that's on you.
Yeah.
But I thought the interesting thing was that they went bankrupt. They filed for bankruptcy in September.
Yeah.
They are closing 39 locations across the country.
Wow.
Not only that, but also they said anything of that's not valuable is going to be left.
Wow.
They're just running away, and these movie theaters are basically going to be vacant. So
this is I think if anything, this would be a good opportunity for AMC to kind of jump in.
Oh man, you know what? I don't think they would.
Really?
Here's the reason why. It's such a huge investment for me to then go in and buy those theaters, because also they're shutting down 39 theaters, but they're not shutting down all of them.
Yeah.
But the other thing that's really interesting is that they aren't, like, if AMC were to make that big budget of going like, we're going to go ahead and we're going to buy these movie theaters, then AMC is going to be in that weird thing of expansion, which they probably can't do right now because they're also really weak. Like, don't get me wrong, AMC is a fun place to go, but the movie industry the theater industry is pretty weak. It's very fragile. And I could see them doing like one bad investment into going belly under.
Oh, okay.
And stuff like that. I mean, it would be interesting. Don't get me wrong. I think that, you know what, if anything is going to probably do it is Cineopolis.
Oh, you know what?
They've been buying a lot of like movie theaters that have been going, because like when the Kokorian went out of business, they bought all of those out.
Yeah.
So that would be really interesting. I can totally see those coming out and everything else.
Or maybe like a discount theater, I guess. Maybe like a Starlight will get it or something like that.
That would be kind of interesting. Starlights need to be more all over the place, but also Starlight needs to update their stuff too.
Yeah, this theater's not bad, but we've always enjoyed it for a cheaper price. But now that we're getting older and stuff like that, me and Mandy care about more is the comfortability. and AMC always proves to be
also
top.
it's also the deals at AMC too. So
That's true too.
AMC really, you do get your money's worth.
I think what I liked about AMC is that when you're spending so much at an AMC, you can use that for tickets. You can make points for buying tickets or buying drinks or using just as like concession stand as well too. When you're building those points,
it's always really funny whenever it's a mystery to you. Like you swipe your card and then they're like, "Oh, you have $20 on your account." You're like,
"That's
charge it, like do it."
So what happened to me is that I had Susan actually gave me a bunch of gift cards that she just sits on. And she gets them from other people, and she just, she's like, well, you know what? I'm not going to do anything. I know you and Mandy go to the theater and stuff like that. I was like, okay, cool. So she gave me like a bunch of like AMC's gift cards, a couple of passes as well.
Oh, nice.
So I was like, okay, cool. And then like there was like $20 on like maybe like 3 different ones. And I was like, oh, cool, $60. So then me and Mandy went to go see Violent Night in around after Christmas. She loves that movie. She loves that movie to death. She goes, I want to watch it again. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm like, hey, I bought the tickets. I was like, hey, we can order something if you want to, because we never ordered food.
Isn't that also really great?
It's actually really cool. You can order like an hour before you get there, and so then I'm going through everything.
Well, you've seen me do it a couple of times.
Yeah, you've done it, and I'm like, Nick does it all the time. She goes like, is that good? I'm like, yeah, you don't have to go in line. You just have to sit down, and they bring it to us. So
don't you feel great when they bring it to you, and you're like, yes, hand it to me.
Yes.
yes, Dave.
So I had like over $60 on gift cards, and I had a $10 off because of my billing of the points and everything.
No way! So we got dinner.
Yeah, we got like chicken nachos with fried chicken on top of the chicken nachos. And then when I got mozzarella sticks, we got tater tots on top of that, and 2 drinks as well. And
how many people did it take to bring all the food out to you, man?
It was like 2 different waiters and stuff like that.
It took 2 people to carry it all out.
Because we had drinks, and then we had but everything's like in those pods.
But the drinks are in the little bag.
Yeah, so they're kind of like bringing it to you, which is fine. Yeah.
Which I thought was kind of cool when the first time I did that. If you ever want a really cool movie experience, go to Alamo Drafthouse.
Alamo Drafthouse?
Yeah, it's in downtown. That's a really nice one.
Okay.
That's a really nice place. We should all like have like a date night.
I'm down.
Drafthouse, because that one's really nice. That one they give you a waiter.
Really?
Yeah.
You serve alcohol there? Or
they do serve alcohol. It's like they have like brews and everything like that. They have mixed
cocktails
drinks.
too. Ooh.
Yeah, and there's a waiter, and he walks into the movie theater and he whispers to you, and he's like, "Yes, what can I get you?
What can I get you?
Like, can you get me more tater tots?" And then he's just like, "Of course." And then he just like walks away, and then they give you a bill at the end of the movie. Mm-hmm. It's a dope little like thing, and they also have board games.
Really?
They have board games for when you're waiting for your movie. So when if you get there early, you can just play board games, and there's a bar area.
That sounds really fun.
So yeah, anybody who hasn't been to the Alamo Drafthouse, that I definitely recommend going to go check that out. So anyway, going into more news.
I think to close out Regal, I think also part of the reasons why they're closing because they serve Pepsi products instead of Coke.
How dare they?
I know.
Let them burn in hell.
Yes.
This is what you get.
That's what you get for signing with Pepsi.
How dare you? Yeah, the losing product. Wednesday got a new season.
That's cool. I finally watched Wednesday. It was fun. I liked it. I see why it's a sensation.
You know what? I saw it, liked it. I was like, it's good. It's
good.
Riverdale. It's Riverdale.
You know what? I think because we didn't watch it at our adolescent
in our
ages. Yeah, in our tweens. So it didn't resonate like as hard as that. I mean, my niece loves it, and she's 11, and she's like, "Oh, it's super good." She got into the Umbrella Academy now. My niece.
Oh, your niece got into Umbrella?
She's on season 3. It's funny because she was just asking me questions. I'm like, huh? She goes,
"Did you watch season 3 of Umbrella Academy?"
Oh, yeah, I have. Yeah. And she's telling me, she goes, I cried when Pogo died. And I'm like, yeah, it was sad. It was all like
real sad.
It was real sad, yeah.
You should the final season's coming out.
Yeah, season 4.
At the end of the year.
Mm-hmm.
That's gonna be awesome. Mm-hmm. Wizard of the Coast.
So this has been getting a lot of
attention. Wizards of the Coast has been saying that they were going to be taking away the license for third-party apps and distributors for any D&D paraphernalia, whether it be apps or creating characters or anything like that, which was dumb.
So because the first thing that comes to mind is Critical Role.
Well, that's the thing though, is that the thing that re-established D&D kind of in the world of
Yeah.
nerds, more or less, is Critical Role.
Yeah.
Which Critical Role, Matt Mercer isn't using an actual like campaign.
No,
or he's
yeah,
not using a book or anything like that. He developed his own stuff.
Yeah, he made his own story.
Yeah, he made his own story. He made his own world. But that's like the whole thing about D&D.
It's interesting that they decided to, say that. Was it Wizards of the Coast, or what is it? It's the company that does D&D.
It is Wizards of the Coast.
Okay,
it's Wizards of the Coast.
So Wizards of the Coast has openly said that like any sort of thing, third party that uses it for profit will sue them and stuff.
Yeah, and that was so weird just because of like they were planning on doing like you're gonna have to shut down apps and you're gonna have to, and you can't really do certain things with it, and it just boggles the mind because that's exactly what D&D was for. Like D&D is all about like if I don't want to do a campaign or anything like that, or I've been playing D&D with if you're a dungeon master and you love being a dungeon master and you wanted to play a campaign with your friends, or you've played all the good campaigns and you're kind of like, dang, I don't have there's no more boxes or no more books to really use. Oh, I can always make my own.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong.
I think on when D&D was first becoming a thing, they've always said you could use the world as a base to create your own stories.
Yeah, and that was kind of also the really cool thing because even like Matt Mercer stuff, Matt Mercer eventually made a book, a compendium of his own, and he added all of the stuff from Critical Role and he added into the world of D&D.
Yeah, and that's now implemented into the world of
D&D.
D&D.
It's actual canon in their world. But the thing is that I don't know what went through anyone's mind over at Wizards of the Coast to then go, we should stop any third party. And I get it though, because it was going to be a lot more money.
Yeah.
There's a lot of money that's getting spread around for Dungeons and Dragons.
So that's what I'm thinking. Is it because now that they have a movie coming out? Do you think they want to start merchandising from that? No,
not it. So the brand. So D&D Beyond is their. I wouldn't say new because it's been around for like 4 or 5 years now. So D&D Beyond is a website where you can get all your compendiums, you can get all your information, you can get everything that you want. Not only that, but also I can make my character sheets. So any character creating things that I buy on D&D Beyond will then reflect inside of the app, and I can use it on an app, I can use it on a tablet. So it's like having a character sheet on the go.
Yeah.
The interesting thing, though, is that they're now developing this new, because right now it's called Dungeons and Dragons 5D.
Yeah.
They're having this like 5.1 thing, and essentially what they're doing is not only are you going to be using your Critical Role, your your D&D Beyond sheets, they're also using the what was it? I think it's like the Infinity Engine or no, they're using Unity, and they're making 3-dimensional areas.
Oh, okay.
And you can basically dungeon master on those. So they're already pre-made areas, and it's all 3-dimensional, and the lights and everything else, and it has everything there. But they're also talking about you can create your own stuff and you can add your own stuff, and it sounded really cool. The only thing is that there's so many different websites that already do that, like Roll20 or any of these other sites or these other like video game areas that it's for role playing. They're seeing these as competition. That's money that we could be getting right now, but because there isn't an actual license on this, we can't stop them from making a game. We can't stop people from going over and doing it. Yeah. This is 100% a money grab. That's it. Because when Dungeons and Dragons was first made by Gary Gygax, he made a world where people can do whatever. They can be whatever. And, it was all about being creative and being who you were or being somebody that you wish you were. And, I think that Wizards of the Coast kind of lost sight of that. Yeah. They really did. And luckily, the community spoke up. Everybody started really getting upset.
Yeah, everyone made sure their voice was heard.
Yes. Yeah, I always thought it was really funny when I was watching it, and somebody put the whole thing to the ending of Ready Player One.
Mm-hmm. That's funny.
Where it's like the community is rushing to the coast to complain. But I'm really happy they're keeping it to a Creative Commons license where everybody still can use it. A lot of the other stuff is not being untouched. So, if you're a Dungeons and Dragons nerd like I am, you should be, pretty happy that, things are going back to normal, which they shouldn't have been. They shouldn't have even been threatened to change in the first place.
They announced that a couple of weeks ago or a week ago.
It's like a week, 2 weeks ago.
So it only lasted not even that. So from then till now, it was only like.
Well, okay, so it was kind of like them feeling out the area. Like imagine if like I
well, that's the thing. It completely reminds me of. Have you heard of the YouTube channel The Fine Bros?
No.
When they did like they were the ones that did like kids react, adults react, and they tried to trademark the name React.
Really?
They tried to do that where they wanted to create this new show called React World, and basically they said that we wanted to have a platform for all React channels to come onto our channel and to basically make content there, but it only had to be on their channel. That's
weird.
That's weird, right? That's the thing. So
that's weird.
And the whole YouTube community had an uproar. Their fans, they lost so many subscribers and stuff. They lost over 1 million subscribers. And then like a week later, they came out with a statement. They're like, listen, we want you to guys know that we weren't trying to trademark the word React. We weren't trying to, stop anyone else from creating content as well too. And really, it kind of feels like they were. It kind of feels like they wanted to make sure that they had the niche to make any sort of reaction channel and make sure that it was on their platform.
Yeah, that's super weird. It's kind of like the same thing, but I don't know. I just thought it's a really
it was interesting. I mean, not interesting, but it was kind of like it really makes you flabbergasted that they thought this was a good business ploy.
Well, I think I don't think they thought they were going to have such a negative reaction to
really?
it. I don't think they thought. I thought that they were going to have like a negative reaction to it, and then people were going to be. And I think what they thought was, we're the creators. Like people are going to enjoy the things that we create more than what other people create, which is not true.
That's not how D&D works.
That's not how D&D works. I think like for me, I right now. Let's get nerdy. Right now, I am a level 14 elemental monk in my D&D in my D&D thing. And I know if you're a D&D nerd, you're going like, why did you go elemental? No, because elemental monks are probably the worst possible monks. Like their level progression is so slow. Not only that, but also the abilities they get are so lame, and like they use up a lot of like what's called like their ki to do like cool abilities, but you don't get to do a lot of stuff with like those abilities. So it's kind of like, why even do it in the first place? Like it's just really restricting. A buddy of mine, when our dungeon master, when we were going through it, I was like, dang, dude, like I really want to play this character, but it's really restricting if you do it by Wizards of the Coast standards, like how they built it. He then went online and he ended up finding a bunch of like elemental monk refresh or restructuring or anything like that, and then they added a bunch of stuff into it, and he was like, this sounds really cool, and like he found like 3 or 4 of them, and he goes, cool, we're gonna add this and this from this, we're gonna add this and this from this, and then we're gonna add that into your character sheet. And I was like, oh my god, that's really cool. And he goes, yeah, now the actual monk feels like it's leveling correctly. And I agreed with him and everything else, but the thing is that you wouldn't be able to do that if you just took that character, if I would have just taken it for face value, and there wasn't that resource of the community and everything else. So I mean, the community has spoken, and just like everything else, community was right. But just to go on, which I'll just continue on, Justin Roiland is no longer going to be. He's no longer going to be taking part inside of Rick and Morty. He was He was fired by Cartoon Network and also Adult Swim. He was found guilty of false imprisonment and DV, and along with fraud,
which I don't know how that
and deceit. So he did a lot of stuff. And we're not going to get into what he did or anything like that, because honestly, if it's true of what he's saying, and he's going to court for them to actually go through it. He was already found guilty, so I'm assuming there was evidence that proved.
There was evidence. Yeah, this is not a what if kind of thing.
This isn't a what if thing. This isn't anything else. And I know people are going to go, well, what about Johnny Depp? Same thing. I'm like, no, that's a totally different thing. Totally different thing. Let's not get into it. But the big thing about it is that a lot of people that work on it, like the writers and everything else for Rick and Morty,
animators and stuff,
they're all just quiet right now because they do. Because mind you, Justin Roiland was a co-creator and the star, because he voiced both Rick and he voiced Morty.
Yeah, and then also among other characters, he also did as well too.
Yeah,
on
he
the
did
side.
a lot of like side characters and stuff like, and all that. So him having to get fired really does hurt the story, because he was also a lead writer too.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna put the show on hold for a little bit right now.
Yes.
Because they gotta reformat. They have to reformat everything. You got to get new voice actors. You got to get you gotta have Dan. Basically, he's gonna be the overseer of everything moving forward. Because I know Dan Harmon is a co-creator, but he's not a.
I feel like he's checked out.
Yeah, that's the thing. He's not. He doesn't really go into it with Rick and Morty.
For Rick and Morty, I feel like he was more of like, I'm gonna help you get started.
Yeah.
And then Justin Roiland really took off from there. And that's cool and all, but now that we have this situation where he might be going to jail, what was it? So he's no longer a part of the thing that he created.
Yeah.
So now we have to, as you said, recast Rick and Morty. Not
to mention, Justin Roiland also started 2 different projects for Hulu. He did Solar Opposites.
Yes.
And then he's doing
which Solar Opposites is not a huge loss.
No, it's not. That's the thing. But it's
Solar Opposites, if you've seen it, is
it's not that great. But there's also
it's the American Dad to Family Guy.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Like where it's like it's not
American Dad's not even that great, honestly.
But no, that's what I mean. Like when you go like family, like of the two,
of like animation people that created not spin-offs but just like different shows.
The only one where I've seen where it was like, oh yeah, the other one also is awesome is The Simpsons and Futurama. It's the only one where I'm like,
that's true.
They're both equally awesome. But yeah, Solar Opposites.
And then he also did he was gonna do a new one with who is it? It was like an Australian cast because Hugh Jackman was part of it as well too.
And then he also just did High on Life.
High on Life,
which is a brand new video game that takes place.
Which also was it Squanch Games. They have said that they are going to move forward without Justin Roiland gave them his resignation.
Interesting.
Yeah, so they are moving forward without him.
Yeah, that's just so crazy.
It's a lot of projects he had. A lot of finger.
A lot of stuff he was touching.
Yeah, a lot of stuff he was touching.
Stuff. Unfortunately, he just needed to not touch one thing.
Right.
He would have been fine.
Right. It's not that hard.
You know what? I'm not going to try and make fun of him. I'm not trying to do anything else. But I mean, it's just like it really does talk to like the culture and because what about like his. What in the world was going through his head?
Yeah,
to like go like this is okay. Like I get
he was going. I can do this,
and I get that he was going through a breakup and it was like really messy and everything else. But
I don't know.
He didn't have to do all that.
It kind of sucks too when it's people that I shouldn't say look up to, but people that you trust in or admire in your mediums or in shows that you like or content that you enjoy, and to find out that this is what they've done in the past or did recently.
I'm calling it right now.
Yeah.
Rick and Morty lasts one more season.
One more season?
I think that's it. I think it's only going to get one more season.
That's the thing. Because now it's like, it's like a bad taste in your mouth now when you look back at it, or like
not,
people.
It's not that. I feel like it's going to be hard for people to recognize, like to accept the new voice acting and the new story and however it's going and stuff like that. So I'm going to call it right now that it's going to
be too much of a hassle to try to keep going.
Not too much of a hassle. I think people are just going to reject it. I think that's
probably
because I'm not going to lie. There's an anime that I watch where the voice actor actually passed away. And it was called Rise of the Shield Hero, and I really enjoyed season 1. Then season 2 came out, and I was like, "Why did they change the voice actors?" And I asked my buddy Andrew, and I was like, "Why did they change the voice actors?" And he goes, "Dude, he died." Like,
did the same thing happen with Anton Yelchin when he was the voice of Troll Hunters?
Yeah,
they did like the first 2 seasons of him. And then when they kept going, you can tell, like, oh yeah, they got a new actor. This is when the new actor got
this is the new actor got casted. Yeah, so I mean, you can definitely tell and everything else because there's just certain things that aren't going to be Rick and Morty.
Yeah, I think obviously when we hear the new voice actors for Rick and Morty, which is interesting too, because now you either have to find someone that can do both or two people. So it's going to be interesting. I mean, on the internet, you've seen people mimic Rick and Morty's voices. Some are good, some are bad.
I want Christopher Judge and the kid who plays Atreus. I just think that'd be hilarious.
That would be funny. Just have Rick as that deep voice.
This deep voice.
Morty.
Just going, Morty.
Morty. We must go to a different dimension, Morty.
Why don't you trust me?
Boy, I mean Morty.
Boy, get in the car.
He starts burps. It's just so deep and guttural burp.
You just have these burps from Christopher. Oh my God, Christopher Judge with Kratos' voice. Burping. Oh God, and then having Atreus. Oh jeez. Oh jeez.
Oh jeez.
Oh jeez.
Oh jeez. Mom's not gonna like this.
Mom's not gonna like this.
Like he actually does sound like a Peter Besant boy.
That would be hilarious. Last piece of comic strips before we get on to the main topic. Surprise Oscar nominations. Oscar nominations finally came out, and we were reading through them just kind of for fun.
Yeah,
and also because we didn't know what this episode was going to be about, and
we still don't know.
we're still kind of walking that fine line. But we saw a couple of sneaky ones that just kind of. We were like, "Wow, really? That's getting nominated." So for Best Picture, Woman Talking, which the Banshees, Inisherin.
Well, it's funny because being around as long as we have, you can tell. When you read a movie that's on the categories of Oscars, you're like, that's an Oscar movie.
Mine was automatically The Banshee.
The Banshee, yeah.
The Banshees, which are Inisherin and All Quiet on the Western Front.
Yeah,
those were my gambles. That can we make a Deadpool? Oh my God! Like, can we put it up what was it like a horse? Like
come on Banshees, yeah.
Like let's make bets in between all of us, and we'll watch the Oscars, and then whoever wins doesn't have to take a shot whatever everybody else does. If you lose. Damn. I think that would be hilarious.
That'd be funny, actually. Yeah.
Just going oh, come on. No.
The winner of Best Picture, and it's always like the ones that you never really thought they were. Like The Fabelmans wins Best Picture.
You were like, what? Did anybody even watch that movie?
Yeah.
No, but so The Fabelmans, All Quiet on the Western Front, Avatar, of course.
Yeah, James Cameron.
He's
got to put his.
I swear to God, if James Cameron wins, I'm gonna be so upset. Because it's not a good movie.
It's not even compared to all the other ones that we've seen in the past. That's the thing. Which another one that surprisingly is
in all fairness, if The Way of Water was for best special effects, I would have understood that.
Yes,
I would have gotten that. Yeah. I would have been like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, if I can understand if it won best special effects or best cinematography,
something like that. Even if it was nominated in those, which I'm 90% sure it is.
Yeah.
Then I would have been like, oh yeah, that makes sense. But The Way of Water is being Best Picture. I don't know about that one. Elvis, it's a biopic. Automatically, it's
always a biopic gets biopic.
Yeah. Tar. is another one. I haven't seen Tar yet. The one that there was two that we were kind of like, what? That's crazy. Everything, Everywhere, All at Once, which also I loved this movie. We all loved this movie.
Yeah,
when we went to see it together.
Bryan just saw it recently, I think.
Didn't he go with the movies to us?
I think. Oh no! Oh no! I didn't get to see it in the theaters. I saw it after it came out.
Oh no! I went to go see it with my brother.
Yeah,
but I didn't get to go. I didn't go see it with you.
No, yeah. Bryan I think he watched it over his vacation recently.
Did he really?
It. Yeah,
he
loved it. He loved it. That's the thing. It was Everything Everywhere All at Once came out in between like two Marvel movies. I think that's what it was, or two at least.
No, it
blockbuster.
came out. I think it came out like right around those two movies, and like no one really went to go see it, and it was a dang shame because it's a great movie.
But hey, it got enough pull that it's now a part of the Oscar categories. Yeah,
it got pulled back into the Oscars, and then Top Gun Maverick.
Yep, Best Picture
is being nominated for Best Picture.
Yep.
Don't get me wrong. I agree, and I've seen.
But for obvious reasons.
Obvious reasons. I mean, it's a popcorn movie. It's literally Star Trek, but from the trench run.
But that's the thing. I remember when it came out. After we saw it, it was such a pop culture phenomenon. As well,
it was, and I feel like that's why they picked it. Is because everybody was talking about it. Everybody was amazed on how good it was, and everything else. I mean, everything always.
Everything Everywhere All at Once.
The title's a train wreck. Yeah. But those were the two that we were really surprised were actually nominated. I would love to see Top Gun or Everything Always All at Once. Get it? I would love for those two, either one of those movies to get it.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to be All Quiet on the Western Front. Or Avatar.
Which I'm shocked that The Whale wasn't nominated for Best Picture.
And that was the other one. Yeah. I was really surprised that The Whale wasn't nominated. Because you said you saw it.
I saw that. It was a good movie. It wasn't bad at all. That's the thing.
And usually they go for those like really...
Yeah, it was a dialogue-heavy film. And it had Brendan Fraser, kind of just like... putting all it in. That's the thing.
He was going all in.
Yeah, he was going all in. But now
I've seen clips from it.
In this next category, he does get recognition.
Yes. So Brendan Fraser for The Whale.
For Best Actor.
Yes. Austin Butler. He's your best actor. Austin Butler for Elvis. He did do a really good Elvis.
I haven't seen it, Elvis, but it's on HBO Max.
It is on HBO Max.
I do want to see it.
You can, but the thing is that even when he was doing like, it was weird because after he was done filming and he was even doing like press for it, he sounded like Elvis. Like he was having a hard time getting back to his actual voice, which is really interesting. Colin Farrell for the Banshees, Inner Sheeran. I thought this was interesting because those two actors, Colin Farrell and the other actor, they've worked together before for the movie In Bruges.
Yeah, In Bruges.
In Bruges, and that movie's really good too.
Yeah, and this was the same director. Yeah, did that as well. Yeah.
So I'm really looking forward to seeing that one because that one has like a nice little. It's sad, but it's also really comedic.
Yes, it's good. I've seen that movie. I watched it. I saw it with Adam from Our Real Addiction. He took me to go see that one. No, the Banshees as well too, because it has the same vibe as well too, where it's also sad, but then it has its very comedic moments.
Yeah,
as well
I
too.
always thought. Me and my brother always quote In Bruges all the time because it's what was it? It's like F you and F your kids. He's like, why did you bring my kids into this? And he's like, I'm sorry. And he goes, no. You apologize. You shouldn't have brought my effing kids into this. And it was just like, and he goes, I'm sorry. I talked bad about your effing kids. And like they're going back and forth and it's super funny. But yeah, so Colin Farrell, Bill Nye, for Living, and then Paul Mescal for After Sun, those were really cool. What was the other one that we were really looking at that was like, oh wow, I couldn't believe that made it in there.
Best Actress.
Best Actress had Michelle Yeoh.
Yes, from Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Yeah, Michelle Yeoh is getting some love, man. And that's awesome.
That's great. I'm glad to see that she's finally getting recognition now, especially in the movie that was really good as well, too.
Yeah, she carried that movie. She did. I mean, honestly, I feel like she needs to get it because she played like 12 characters. Yeah.
Definitely. I loved
throughout the movie, and she did an amazing job differentiating between every single one.
Well, what I loved is that character in there, too, is that she played that typical Chinese household mother, that you see, and she played it very well. On top of obviously doing all the martial art moves and stuff like that, and just really capturing that whole mother and daughter love too.
The thing of I'm going to do anything. I'm trying to do what's best for you, even if you feel like I'm not.
Yeah. Was it helicopter parent?
Yeah, she's very much a helicopter parent.
Yeah. It was good. I liked it.
But yeah, so I mean, go check out the nominees. I mean, some of them are really interesting. I can't wait. I think that would be really funny to do like a pool. To see, pick a couple of them.
Yeah.
And then we pick our winners like a horse. And which we have to watch it like that. Jamie Lee Curtis.
I was going to say best supporting actress. You know what? She should have. Yeah, I was like, you know what?
Dude,
awesome. And then the daughter too, Stephanie.
Wow.
Yeah. Dude, Everything Everywhere All at Once really is just.
I'm hoping that it sweeps.
I
hope it sweeps.
You know what? I think she's gonna win. Angela Bassett? Yeah. For best supporting, she has to win it. They're gonna give it to her.
They'll give it to her, but honestly, Jamie Lee Curtis also deserves.
I would love to see Jamie Lee Curtis. I would love to see Everything Everywhere just like take it all.
I would love that, but also I think Jamie Lee Curtis deserves to get it just because of her legacy in the movie business and everything else. I think that the one thing that she hasn't gotten is an Oscar.
Yes,
and I think that would be great, but. Yeah, I can totally see that happening.
Q Juan.
K
Juan.
Yeah.
Quan. Yeah.
Yeah, he's also being nominated as well for supporting actor.
Oh, there we are. Here he is. Oh no, that's Barry. That's the that was the young kid in that movie. Okay. Yeah. And then film is okay.
Yeah, there's a lot. Go check them out. I thought it was really interesting. Yeah, see, why are they separated though?
Oh, there's two different. Oh, that you know what? It gives them another chance to win. That's the thing.
I feel like it should be Daniel. It should just be the Daniels together. Maybe they are, and they're just separating it like that. But I don't know. That's weird. But lastly, going into our final topic of The Last of Us, just so that way we can kind of close out with the last 15 minutes of The Last of Us. Last of Us has already been confirmed for a season 2,
which is good. That's the thing. I know.
That is awesome.
We knew it was, but to have it finally confirmed is just as good too. It's that good little kind of like when this season ends, at least we know for sure we're gonna.
You know what's funny? I went to go. I showed Monica the first episode of The Last of Us. She made me turn it off.
Why?
She was too anxious.
Oh,
she said it made her too anxious the first episode because she was like I could see her and she was just like she was like really getting like.
That's how you know it's a good show though.
And she was like really invested because usually Monica is the type of person that will watch. My girlfriend will watch something lay on my shoulder and then fall asleep. Like instantly. Like I could literally be put on the movie for like 5 minutes and all I hear is I'm like, didn't even make it 5 minutes. Didn't even make it 5 minutes into the movie. But for that one, she was so like she made it half an hour. She made it about half an hour into the
so that was episode. Towards the end, right? When they're driving through the town?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she hadn't gotten to. She was like, "I'm so stressed out because I don't know what's gonna happen to them. I need you to turn it off."
So she didn't get to the end.
That
whole sequence. Dang.
She missed it. I was trying to convince her to like stay.
Does she know? Or
no.
Oh man.
She doesn't know anything.
You gotta.
That's why I haven't said anything.
You're like, you know what? I think it's been a couple of weeks now. You're like, we should finish it. You know.
Well, no. Okay, so she can't watch anything that's super anxious if we're about to go to bed.
Oh, I see.
Because she'll be anxious. It'll keep waking her up in the middle of the night because of her anxiety. And she was like, I already know this. Like the main reason why she told me to stop it, she was like, this is something I need to watch during the day, so that way I can watch an episode of it, and then I can
process it,
and then I can do other stuff, and then it'll get it out of my mind by the time I go to bed. I was like, all right, fine. But I go, is it good though? And she goes, oh no, it was amazing. Like I loved it.
That's good.
But yeah, so Last of Us season 2 already confirmed. I'm excited about it. That means that we are definitely going to get at least the ending of season 1. I mean, of the first game.
Yeah, for sure. Well, it depends on how they're going about this season. I mean, so far, it doesn't feel like it's going fast.
No,
it doesn't.
They are taking their sweet time.
So, but I'm good. I'm glad to see what else they have in store moving forward, at least when they touch on to the second game, when they finally get to that part.
Yes.
I might have to play the second one right after this season ends.
Yeah.
I feel like might have to do that.
So that's one thing. Mm-hmm. The other thing that we're gonna get into is our thoughts on the third episode. Mm-hmm. Episode 3 has finally come out.
Upon recording, we just got done watching it.
Literally just finished watching it.
Mm-hmm.
Like we watched it and then came into the recording. No, I'm sorry. We watched it, shot a skit, then recorded.
Yeah. So we've had some time to process it.
Yeah, we've had a little bit of time to process.
Yeah.
This episode revolves all about Frank and Billy.
Yeah, their backstory.
Frank and Bill. Mm-hmm. And their backstory in the game. For anybody who's played the game, it's a very bitter relationship. Like, yes, they were together when the end of it. Yes, they got together at the very end, and Frank, came upon Bill, and but you can tell that there was a problem. Yeah. Because when you first meet Bill in the game, he's very upset because he hasn't seen Frank in a while because they got into an argument. Yeah. And then Frank went out to go get supplies or something and then never came back, and he's been missing. Yeah. And then Joel's asking for the car battery and he's basically going, "You have to help me find Frank and then I'll give you the car battery." Mm-hmm. I liked this. I thought it was interesting because they took an entirely 180. Yeah.
The writers
approach.
Were like, they even said it at the end of the episode when they recap and how they changed it. They said, "Well, we've always wanted to tell the story of Frank and Bill. We thought this was a good opportunity, and if we find a way to tell it differently and better, we're gonna stick with it. If we don't, we're gonna keep it the same as the game." I'm like, that's fine.
That makes sense.
That makes sense. They did a phenomenal job of going about this story than how the game did.
Yes, because in that one it was very bitter, and by the time that you get spoilers if you haven't played the game.
Spoiler guys, yeah.
Spoilers if you haven't played the game, or if you haven't watched The Last of Us, because we are going to kind of get into it and everything else. In the game, Bill, you end up finding Frank's body. He hung himself because he was bitten. Mm-hmm. And then he writes a note basically saying, like, "I hate you. I've always hated you. And, like, the worst thing in my life was to meet you." Yeah. And then you find, like, notes throughout the game.
Yeah, it's such
a level where it's like it hints at them being lovers.
Way. Yeah.
And it hints at them being lovers and stuff. And it's so depressing.
It's
and then
very depressing.
You leave Bill like that. Like, you just walk away and Bill is just living his life knowing that the man he loved hated him. Yeah. And now he's dead and now I'm alone again.
I mean, it's an interesting way because it's to keep up with the vibe of the game of The Last of Us, where everything's just somber and just depressing the entire time. It fits the world that you're in.
Yes, where just everything sucks. Mm-hmm. Just everything sucks. Yeah. And in this episode, it was less like that. It was
less depressing, just more bittersweet.
Yeah. It's interesting too because Joel. It starts off with Joel and Ellie, and they're walking towards Bill's house. Yeah. And Bill and Frank's place, and while they're driving there. While they're walking, Joel is explaining what everybody believes happened. That the fungus was spread in either sugar or wheat, and it was in a popular wheat that was just distributed all over the world. And if you ate enough of it, then you got sick, and then eventually you got sick, and then you bit somebody, and then that's how the virus spread. Yeah, because Ellie is trying to figure out, what happened. Yeah. Like, how did this all start? Because Ellie wasn't there. She was born into this world of hell. So not only that, but also he's then telling everybody the mentality of the army at that time, which was, oh yeah, like they said they collected everybody in these towns and said, we're going to send you off to a quarantine zone. Mm-hmm. And then once they did that, if there wasn't any room for you in the quarantine zone, they put you in a ditch and shot you in the head.
Basically, if it didn't matter if you were infected or not, if it was filled up already,
And then and Ellie made a good point where she goes, well, actually Joel made a good point, but Ellie went, why did they kill them? Like, what was the point of that? Like, what did it solve? And then Joel even says, yeah, dead people can't be infected. So it's one of those things of, do I leave these people outside and then eventually they become infected and they become a problem? Or do I kill them right now? I can spare them from, living outside in this hellhole, and they, and I, in a way, it is a mercy.
It is, yeah.
In like the darkest way, it's a mercy. And that introduces you to Bill, where Bill is a conspiracy theorist and a prepper.
Yeah.
And he is...
Well, he would say, I'm a survivalist.
Yeah, I'm sorry, a survivalist who basically takes over a town. The town he lives in...
So the town he lives in is everyone's being evacuated, but he decides to stay behind because obviously he's a survivalist, so he believes where they're going, there's no need for him to go. He can do it on his own. And it does. It becomes a really interesting thing where as soon as everyone leaves, he now sees that he is left behind.
Yeah, he realizes
he is by himself, and he is more happier than he has ever been. And he basically gets to work on basically ciphering through all the town, getting gas, getting what he needs, hardware stuff, and then realizing, okay, I can put everything in a generator, and then I can make my own fence. Months go by.
Yeah, he made a fence. Yeah. He restarted up the gas. He turned on the electricity.
He has a security system.
Yeah, because he even says like, "Oh yeah, that was fast." Like they turned off the water and the power. And he breaks into Home Depot and stuff.
He makes his own little garden.
Yeah, and I thought that was interesting because you can see that he had been living by himself for like 6 months. Something like that. So he had been living... No, I'm sorry, 3 years.
Oh, yeah. It was 3 years past before he met Frank.
Because he was by himself for about 3 years, and then Frank came along.
Yeah. Which is interesting, being by yourself for that long.
But he preferred it.
Yeah.
Because he thought that everybody else were morons.
That's true.
He didn't like anybody, and then Frank eventually came along, and then... he had companionship. He had somebody to care for. He had somebody to love, and the episode takes a weird turn.
Yeah, because we're watching it and we're like, "Where's this gonna go? How is this gonna end?" Because we're assuming, he's gonna meet Joel at some point, which he does. Because Frank wants to initiate contact with people, because he's been stuck. It's another 3 years they are been together.
So throughout this episode, they do like chunks where it's like 3 years, 2 years, 6 months, 10 years.
So it's all within the 20-year span from Joel losing his daughter to where he's at now. It's within this time frame
because it starts 4 days after. It's because if
they start evacuating 4 days after the outbreak starts.
Because the outbreak started on the 26th of September, and then September 30th is where the episode begins. So yes,
yeah. And it gets very interesting because you have Bill that's so used to being by himself, but now he's like, okay, I got to protect Frank. That's what made his life better.
Not only that, but also Frank. he could finally be who he wanted to be.
Yes. Oh, yes. That was another thing too. When you see him and Frank intimate for the first time, you can tell. Well, Bill says, he's never done this with a man, but he's done it with a woman. But even then, he's never fully came out. You can tell. To anyone, he's always kept that to himself, which is interesting too, and
only in well, I mean, when you think about it, it's 2003. That's not exactly
during that time. Yeah,
it's not as common as it would have been, in 2023. It's not that's not super common, especially in the South.
No, definitely, yeah.
Because they're they're like 20 miles out of Boston. That would not fly at all.
No, not at all.
That's like rural Boston. No, you would never get especially a small town.
Yeah,
that's true. That would never happen. But it was interesting though, because then, he finds this companion and they fall in love. And honestly, as being a video game player, I'm really kind of waiting for that downfall. I'm waiting for them to kind of go, oh yeah, he eventually starts to hate him. Because and I thought it was going to start with them being isolated, of like, no, this is where we are. We're isolated. No one else comes in.
Yeah.
And, basically feeling like Frank's a prisoner.
Yeah.
But that never came. It never came.
It's also showing you that Bill will do anything to make Frank happy. When he suggested that we should have friends, people coming by, you would think that Bill would be like, okay, if you're going to endanger us, then, get out of here. You think it's going to go that way. But then you see that Frank has been keeping contact with a woman, which we find out, which is it's Tess and Joel the entire time. And Joel and Tess come visit them at the town that they live in now. And after that they establish a relationship. We find out also too that's where most of their stuff has been coming from is Frank or from Bill and Frank.
Yeah, that's what they've been trading for like meats and batteries and everything else. So they've been kind of like their biggest resource.
Yes.
And I thought that was really cool. But that leads you to because even at the end of that conversation, Joel says, you have a really nice place here. Mm-hmm. There will eventually be raiders. Mm-hmm. People are not in the QZs. Mm-hmm. People are trying to live on their own, and they're going to see what you have.
It's a good setup for that. Mm-hmm.
They're going to see what you have, and they're going to come and try and take it. Mm-hmm. And eventually that does happen, and you can see that Frank has set up a bunch of traps.
Yeah.
For them, and it's really funny because in the game you had to basically try to evade all of these traps going through.
Yeah.
And it's so interesting on how after that situation it jumps 10 years because after the fight with the Raiders, Bill gets shot and you kind of think, oh wow, Bill's gonna die, and then Bill eventually, and then it shoots 10 years into the future. And they're old men.
They grow old together, yeah.
They grow old together, and it looks like it's never really said what Frank has, but it looks like Frank has Parkinson's or some kind of a nerve disease.
Yeah,
because he can't really sit still. He's having a hard time walking. He can't he can't hold like certain things. He has to hold it with two hands. And you can kind of see that he's not really there because even throughout the episode, Frank keeps on telling him, "I'm sorry that I'm getting old. You're thinking very much that eventually Frank's gonna have to take care of me." And then it ends up turning different, where Frank ends up having to be taken care of by Bill. And Bill's he's a doting partner.
Yeah.
He doesn't complain. He does what he has to do.
Yeah.
He knows that it's my duty to take care of them because I love them.
Yeah.
And that was like the hardest part going through that episode of Frank is sitting there and he's watching Bill sleep. Bill wakes up and then he goes like, "No, man, you're gonna take a nap later, and you need to stay awake." And he goes, "I'm not gonna take a nap later because today's my last day." And he comes to that realization of, I'm gonna kill myself today.
Yeah, this is it. He doesn't want to keep being a burden to Bill.
I don't want to be a burden.
He doesn't want to feel like he is.
Yeah, and I just want to have one last day, and I want to do what I want to do today, and at the end of the day, you're going to make a dinner, and you're going to put all my pills into my wine, and I'm going to drift off to sleep while you hold me. And it was a very touching,
It was a very, scene. Even you and I talked about that.
And I started tearing up while I'm feeling emotional. I was like, oh my God, I don't even know what I would do in that.
It was a strong scene. It
was so strong. And I was like, oh my God, how do you ask your partner to do that? How do you, it's such a hard thing to ask somebody you love to go, I want you to kill me.
Yeah. I want to die.
I want to die and I want you to kill me. Yeah. And I want you to have to live with it.
I want you to help me go through with it. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I can't kill myself. Yeah.
It's a lot to do.
And so they do everything that they want. Frank takes Bill to the boutique that Frank had built for them, and they had put on clothes, and what was it? They had a nice day out, and then they made dinner, and they did all these other things, and then it's so interesting to see Frank pour the final the last two glasses of wine, And then as he's pouring the 2 glasses of wine, he gives one to Frank and he keeps one for himself. And then he pours in all the pills into Frank's glass. And then Frank goes, "Is that enough?" And he goes, "Oh yeah, trust me, it's more than enough." And he chugs it. And he chugs the glass. And then Bill looks down at his glass, chugs his too. And he goes, "Were there pills inside of your wine glass too?" And he goes, "There were pills in the entire bottle."
Yeah, he put it in the bottle.
And he goes, "Was it a lot?" And he goes, "It was enough to kill a horse." And Frank's kind of upset about it, where he's like, "I don't approve of this. Like, I don't like
this is
the
not what he
idea.
wanted.
Yeah, this isn't what I wanted." But also he saw the romance in it, because Bill came to the realization of, if you're going, I'm going.
Yeah.
Because the only thing I have to live for is you. And if you're gone, I don't know what I'm going to live for. And it's such a contrast.
Yeah, and it's such a completely different 180 than how it was in The Last of Us, but in a much better way.
Yeah, it was kind of beautiful.
Yeah, it was a very
in
beautiful
a way,
story.
Because in reality, I mean, they met in their 40s. They lived 20 years together and then died in bed holding each other. And then Joel and Ellie eventually show up.
Yes.
After they fell asleep and they died in bed. It's maybe a week, 2 weeks later.
At most, it's been a couple of weeks, because they even said that too, when because we get the music of the 80s played in the first episode, and because of that, we find out why it was playing is because Bill has it set.
He'd been dead for at least a week.
He would have to be dead at least a week to reset it, because he resets the playlist every single time, so it doesn't play the 80s. And so that's when we find out, okay, a week has gone on. So that basically means it was a week before they left the QZ. Yeah. So then, that just happened at that point.
Bill and Frank had already been dead for about a week at that point.
So,
and I thought that was interesting too, because then they went over, oh yeah, like if you don't reset this, it'll automatically play on the radio stations and we'd hear it.
Yeah.
Which explains you hearing the radio in the QZ in the first episode. But also, I thought the note was very hard to read for Joel, because Joel gets there with Ellie. They're searching for Bill and Frank. They can tell something's wrong, and in the note, he specifically says, "Don't open the door. Like, don't open the bedroom door." I'm pretty, like, the house doesn't smell, but that's because we left a window open. I'm pretty sure if you were to go in on us whenever you were to find us, it's going to be a hell of a sight, and I don't want to do that to you. And, I don't like you. I've never liked you. I've always hated you.
Yeah.
But you're the closest thing that we had to a friend. And it was so funny, because it was like, to whoever finds this, but most likely it's Joel.
It's Joel. Yeah. I liked it, and it was really good. It was a beautiful note saying that, telling him that you got to protect what you love.
Yes.
You have to protect it, like I did.
Yeah,
you got to keep what you love safe, and make sure you do that for Tess. But which was even harder. But
really nails in the whole thing of, like, he's already failed twice.
But it's really interesting, because now, obviously, being told that it's along the way of the story of the narrative, it's going to be implemented when it comes to Ellie moving forward.
Yes.
Which is going to be interesting to see, and it seems like in the next episode, we're just, they run into some raiders.
They're starting to run into raiders. They're starting to run into other, because walkers aren't necessarily the only thing that you have to really worry about inside the world of the Last of Us. Yeah. I thought the interesting thing at the end of the episode was that their costume designs turned into the video game costume designs for definitely. Ellie and Joel. Because Ellie is now wearing her shirt, her quintessential sunset shirt.
Yeah.
And then Joel is wearing the green flannel that he wears in the game. I think
it's going to be, that's the reasoning right behind that, is that moving forward, will be easy to spot them out in dark areas, or like when it rains or at night. So we get to see, okay, that's their colors, That's,
I think most likely that's going to be like the big thing. But also it's nice to see them in their costumes. It's nice to go like, oh yeah, like look, they look almost identical. Yeah. And everything else.
I feel like the Leonardo DiCaprio. Hey,
I cannot wait. because I already know somebody on TikTok or on like online is gonna connect the two of like as soon as they walk out in their costumes, going, hey, and then point. I already know it's gonna happen, and that's gonna be hilarious.
Well, I wonder in the next episode they're gonna run into the two brothers. What's his name? Those two brothers that they run into while the one of them gets bitten.
I wouldn't mind seeing that. I think there's a couple of things, like they said, like to go like scene by scene in the game, that would be tough. But I can see them adding some other things and everything else. But I think this is I think this is so far my favorite episode.
Yeah, this is my favorite episode of the season.
Yeah, this one it really made me connect. And it was very beautiful.
Beautiful story, beautiful. Everything was shot really well as well too.
Yeah, I even like the scene when they're eating the strawberries and they're like laughing and crying.
Yeah.
They did an amazing job making you love Bill and Frank.
Like, two characters that you just get thrown into scene right then and there as well too.
Yeah, like you spend 45 minutes with them and you're like, oh man, I love these guys.
Yeah, and you don't want to see them die already. But
yeah,
you're like
okay. I love them. I love them so much, and then you have to say goodbye to them so fast, and you can even see how much it hurts Joel. Yeah. That more of his friends are dying around him.
Yeah.
And that is a shame.
Mm-hmm.
But that's it. I definitely recommend this episode. The episode was great. Man, The Last of Us really knows how to kick you in the nuts.
Right? Yeah. So really far, the creators are doing a really good job of. Again, this is just a perfect example of how you should adaptation of a video game.
Yeah, because the video game already did 90% of the work, but unlike. See, but that is also another contrast of it too, because they changed something from the original source material and they made it different. Mm-hmm. The Walking Dead also does this. Yeah. But the thing is, they bloated it out. Yeah. Like because in The Walking Dead, let's just take the farm. Mm-hmm. Where you get to Herschel's farm and Herschel has his entire family in the farmhouse. Yeah. That entire season takes place in the farmhouse, when in the comics it's
like a quick arc.
It's like maybe 5 or 6 issues.
Yeah, because then by that point winter's starting after they leave Herschel's farm, which I don't know why they leave Herschel's farm in the comic book. I forgot. It's been a while since
they left Herschel's farm because Herschel didn't want to stay anymore because they went through and killed everybody.
Oh, that's right.
Because it wasn't just it wasn't just Shane who killed them. It was all of them who killed them. Yeah. And then Herschel was like, "Get off my farm," because they eventually come back to get Herschel.
That's right. Yeah, they get kicked out. Yeah,
Herschel kicks them off his land
because they find the prison, and they're like, "We have a better area, a safer area for you guys to live."
But once they find the prison, then they go back to go get Herschel. Yeah, I forgot about that. Because Herschel still has his daughter. Yeah. Because he still has his 2 daughters. Herschel still has his 2 daughters, which he doesn't have in the show. No. And then they end up getting their heads chopped off by the inmates.
That's right. Oh yeah. And then.
But you don't have that. And you don't have that in the show. No, somebody else gets decapitated in the show. But that's the thing, though, is that it was so weird because it was like, oh yeah, we're not going to have these characters inside the show, but we're still going to have the same things happen, but now we just have to find other people that we're going to kill off in the position of them. And that's really weird, and it's just an odd choice to make. Like, I felt like they were making different choices inside of The Walking Dead just to make different choices.
Yeah, it's a thing. They were doing it just because they wanted to change things up,
so that way comic readers were also thrown off. Yeah. But the thing is that this one also threw off the video game players, but in a good way.
That's the thing.
Like, it gives you, because I never liked the ending of Bill's missions. Like, you were always like, oh man, this guy's gonna blow his brains out, man. Like, he's probably gonna kill himself after this.
Yeah, like, how's he still around and not wanting to eat a bullet right now?
Yeah, like, I'm pretty sure he's gonna probably do the same thing.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's gonna be tough and everything else, but they're doing an amazing job of like, oh yeah, we need to add these things, or we're gonna change it like that. So, but that's gonna be it for us this week.
Yes, guys.
Once again, you can find all of our social media and everything else. So follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. like and subscribe to our Facebook and our Twitters and everything else. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, like it, subscribe. Make sure to set a comment. Let us know if whether or not you liked the changes that they did to The Last of Us. Let us know what you guys think about Justin Roiland and all that stuff. And also give us your best take on, who is... which Oscar nomination are you really excited for, and who do you hope wins, and everything else. So you can find us on Podbean, Spotify, anywhere where podcasts can be found. And I think that's it, right?
That's about it. And thank you guys for watching us on YouTube as well too.
Yes.
Don't forget to like and subscribe and comment down below.
Yes, we come out Wednesday. Also go to our sister podcast, Our Real Addiction.
Sorry, it's towards the end of the night, guys.
Towards the end of the night. It's already going to be 11 o'clock. But Our Real Addiction, they come out tomorrow, Thursday night.
Yes.
They will be talking about a couple of newer topics as well.
They're going to talk about Infinity Pool and their take on The Last of Us as well too.
Yeah, so they're going to have a different take on that as well. So let us go ahead and go check them out. I can't wait to hear what they have to say about that. Yes. You ready to close this out?
Let's do it.
All right, let's do this. This has been Keeping Up with the Nerds, issue 133. My name is Nick Valera.
Rene Bryan.
Signing off from Undercity Comics. We'll see you all next time.